All right, let's go ahead and let's dive into this final session for this month. This would be Level 3, Lesson 2, Session 3. Thank you for the help. Thank you. And this specifically deals with the aspect of collaborating. We haven't covered that, have we? Working together, team coaching, working together as professionals. This is really powerful. And even though as I started to wrongly get into this the previous session, we're here now. In the past, we've all been taught that, you be careful with your competitors. If you get too close to them, they'll steal your business. But actually, in the realm of the professionals, this is actually a business builder. It strengthens you because professionals refer to professionals. So you would want to, for the benefit of your own ministry and business, as well as those that you come into collaboration with, you'd want to build some bridges. You'd want to try to get to know as many other individuals who could help in a great way. I use the example of a doctor. Is not going to try to deal with the legal aspects when you're trying to settle a claim on a car accident. He's going to focus on the medical aspects. And then it'll be up to you to find another professional to help make sure that the person who ran you over downtown pays your doctor bills. So a doctor might say, well, I can't help you with that, but I can give you a name, someone to contact. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. To the point that you actually form somewhat of a loosely connected team. Obviously, you can become tightly connected if that's really what you want more to do. You notice occasionally in a doctor's office, some types of clinics will have different medical professionals. They'll have psychologists, psychiatrists, they'll have an MD, they may have a particular specialist. In other words, there may be 20 different specialists or professionals in this office, and they're all contracted together, so they're basically bound to refer to their own. It's kind of like Baylor. They always send you to a Baylor specialist if your doctor is a Baylor doctor. So that's the tight example. A loose example is really, I think, the best benefit for a lot of professionals, especially for people coaching in particular niches, because you're not contractually bound, it's relational. You have agreements with people in their fields that the two of you refer back and forth, but because you're not contractually bound, you can reach out and have agreements with multiple people. For example, let's say you're coaching a client who begins to have some anxiety. The first place that you might want to refer them to another professional might be someone that you're in relationship with that is a Christian counselor. And you might start there. And so, but if that doesn't work out, you might refer them to a medical doctor or what have you. But the point being is that you also, when you refer them, you may say, well, and if this guy, I'm referring you to this Christian counselor, and if you don't feel like that's a match or a fit for you, then I've got 2 or 3 others that I am, I relate to or collaborate with. And so what happens is what you're really doing is you're building a business to where a lot of your business comes through word of mouth from other professionals. Why? Because professionals are highly trusted. And so if someone is trusting that professional they've just gone to, and that professional says, I want to refer you over here. My doctor would always say to me, if he referred me for something, I'm going to send you over here to Dr. So-and-so. And now, a few times I would say, well, I'd rather do this or I'd rather do that. And he'd say, okay, fine. But he usually wouldn't ask me, who's your favorite headache doctor? You know what I mean? Or what? I'm just thinking of one example. No, he sent me to someone that he collaborates with that was in the Baylor circle. And so you work that way. But I'm sure he had others that he was in relationship with. If I said, oh, I've heard about that guy. I don't want to go over there. He'd probably said, okay, then what about this one in Waxahachie, or something. So it's just realizing that God doesn't function alone. He's God. He's the Father. He's God the Son, He's God the Holy Spirit. And so the Trinity obviously works together. God works in a spirit of unity, but He collaborates with the different persons of the Godhead to accomplish His will in our lives and to be a blessing to humanity and creation. God has created us all as relational beings and with the need to work and function best in community. We should be aware and open to the possibility of growth and meeting the needs of people through our services. It may be better served through collaboration. A good professional realizes where their skills end and where those of someone else begins. And so they are going to work and operate that way, right? When we find somebody to help us, I've used example in putting the rock in our house, it's possible that one person can do all that stuff, but a lot of times, as Keith does, sometimes they reach out to other professionals. They call them subcontractors, right? And because this guy's really good at rock and this guy's really good at trim work, and so they work together and everybody makes the project come out for the best result. And that's what we're doing as coaches. What's best for the client? We say there's a myth and that there is only one pie and only a certain numbers of pieces, and if we start building bridges to too many people, we're going to get left out of getting a piece. But that's really not the way it happens in professional realms. The more people you collaborate with, the more pies you become a part of, because each professional has a pie, to a degree anyway. I keep using a medical doctor, but it could be a pastor, or any type of a coach. You come in and you say, okay, this is my pie, and yes, I've got my pie, and I don't want nobody eating my pie. These are my 8 slices, and I'm going to savor myself. Or you can say, there are parts of this pie that I can involve other people in, and if I open up that relationship, they will involve me in parts of their pie, and before long, you've got more business than you would have ever had in the limitation of the one pie, if you just said my pie and nobody else's. But now you've got people from multiple professional realms sending people to you for coaching because you're working together. And so everybody's working for the best end result in the life of the client. And so it helps. It builds in so many ways. Now your name is being mentioned and you're being referred by professionals all over. You become the coach, in the community, as far as everybody's concerned. Why? Because this doctor and this lawyer and this principal and this coach over here and that coach over there all say, hey, I'm working with this guy. Well, you're saying it about them too. But what it does is you're all in different niches. So it's not like you're taking each other's business. It's like what you're doing is you're wisely building bridges into your business. Amen. So think outside the box for your clients and your business. It's imperative for traveling the distance of creating a successful coaching practice. And we're worded that way because really it is a journey that you're building a business that's going to increase and grow and grow. I can use the example of the seminary here. Back in the days when we first started, our sizes, our numbers were small because this is not the kind of business that you get a very good response to advertising. You're throwing your money, away, basically. It's built on word of mouth. But as we gradually grew, we grew more. Why? The obvious reason. We used to have 10 students, now we got 20. We got twice as many people telling other people that they like integrity. And so that's kind of the way that coaching works too. You do a good job with one client, they're going to tell their family, they're going to tell their friends, hey, this would really help you. And so that's to your benefit. Working together, businesses and organizations can change the landscape of an entire industries of regions by providing better value to the right customers while helping each other succeed. To best work as a team, we want to identify our fears about collaborating. If you are nervous about that, then then just begin to meditate and evaluate yourself. Why am I afraid? What am I scared I'm going to lose? What am I afraid that this is going to cost me? And then look at it on the other side. How can I benefit from this? What will I gain for this? How many more clients will I get as a result? And I think that you would find, without a doubt, that it's much more in your favor that way, if you consider it like that. What experiences have you had in the past that have been both positive and negative? Think about these. See and determine how they're influencing my decision making now concerning collaboration. Brainstorm about other businesses and coaches that see modeling collaborative coaching or team coaching, and see if you can identify the strengths and the weaknesses for them. In other words, just look at them, for example, and see how is it working for them? How has it helped to pull them together and increase their business and their impact on lives for the kingdom of God? You have the little graphic here with the circles, and just the idea here is just to give you a mental picture of what we're talking about. So basically, you would write your own primary niche in the center. For example purposes, I'm just going to use a divorce coach, because that's an easy one to identify a lot of professionals in a lot of areas where coaching would help. So let's just say that you said, I want to be a divorce coach for whatever reason. You've been through a divorce, or you've seen the pain and heartache of divorce. You want to be a blessing to divorcees. You want to help alleviate some of the suffering and misunderstanding. Whatever your reasons that God gives you, you say, I want to be a divorce coach. So in using that example, you would write divorce coach in the middle. For yourself, you might want to write whatever you feel like is going to be your primary realm. Then from divorce coaching, you want to ask, what kind of other professionals would I want to build relationships with if I'm going to be a divorce coach? Well, one of the first ones that I wrote down in one of the circles at the end of the, in other words, you got the line going out in the circle. I wrote down financial coach. One of the biggest things that I know of that people run into when divorce happens is it's financially difficult on everybody, because they're trying to determine how to divide up the money. Oftentimes it doesn't come out fair. And so you would really want to be able to help someone. Let's say perhaps it's a young mother and a young man, and he made the most of the money, and she's really only getting a little bit for child support. She can't live on that. And so, but if she was better at budgeting, it would help, and maybe she could get a job. Well, if I'm collaborating with a financial coach, I could say, I'm going to help you with this divorce coaching, and part of my coaching is going to be helping you get the professionals that will help you get the best benefits, through this difficult, painful process. So I want to refer to you to this financial coach over here. So when it comes to the finances, which are very much important part of the divorce, they're going to go see this person, okay? Now, then also, who else would a divorce coach need? Well, I said a realtor. It could be a realtor coach, or it could be a real realtor. In other words, you want to connect with coaches and with professionals. And sometimes people can be both. You could be a realtor and a realtor coach, or you might be one or the other. But anyway, just seeing that your client is going to get someone that's going to help them. There might be a house or property that's going to be sold and the money's going to be divided, or perhaps one of those in the divorce, husband or wife or both, are going to be trying to find a new place to live or something. You want to get the best money that you can for the old place so that they both can have a chance to start off again. So a realtor might get involved in the picture. What this does, it doesn't take away from your expertise, and the truth is you don't have time to, as a divorce coach, you don't have time to now function as a financial coach and then function as a realtor and then function as, next one I wrote down was a mortgage coach. A lot of people every day could have got a better mortgage rate, could have got a better deal, but most people go wherever either the realtor or the house salesperson or somebody like that recommends. Why? Because people are looking for professionals to recommend professionals. So if you're a divorce coach, you might want to be connected to a mortgage coach, someone who may may offer mortgages, or they may not. They may just be up to speed on all the interest rates and all the legalities, and be able to sit down with them and say, hey, let's have a session, and we're going to get you in a position where you're going to get the best mortgage. Big deal over 30 years. You could be talking about a chunk of change, just by meeting perhaps with a mortgage coach, maybe one session or something like that. Or two. And then you can continue to fill these in. I wrote down on here lawyers or attorneys. If you're in a divorce, you're going to need an attorney. A divorce coach can help you with a lot of areas, but they're not legally authorized to stand before the judge. So they may not have an attorney. But as a divorce coach, I might be able to say, hey, I know 2 or 3 good Christian attorneys that I work with, and I'd like to recommend. What is this doing? Again, it's making me look like I know what I'm doing, see. And then because they're specialists at that, then that reflects back on me, reflects on them. And sooner or later, those attorneys are going to send me somebody. They're going to say, hey, I've got this couple that are getting divorced, and they really need a coach. And I told them to get a hold of you. You see how this works. The next thing I wrote down was maybe an accountant. You may need someone to help with going through financial records and statements and things like that, and deciding what real assets and resources that have to be divided and things. Another one I put was a counselor. A counselor is different than a coach. The counselor could help them overcome some of the hurts and pains, misunderstandings, wounds, and scars. Could also help them learn about themselves, how they could be a better spouse if they get married again, or what to avoid in the next person. Counselor can have a lot of input into their life. And then I said an insurance coach. Again, insurance is like mortgages. You can pay a lot or you can pay a little, and a lot of times you end up with the same thing. It's just based on who you get your insurance with. We have found that out repeatedly. When we bought our travel trailer, this is just recently, 2 or 3 months ago. The first place that was recommended to us, we called and checked on it. It was like $1,100 a year, and I thought, well, that's a little high. I mean. And then Laurie checked on the insurance company that we have our house with and we have our car with, our truck with, and I think she got it for $400 or $500 a year, Yeah, she said, yeah. So it saved us, half of what we almost could have, gotten involved in for the same thing. So these are reasons that really prove themselves in the long run why coaches are valuable. Coaches can save you money, they can save you time, they can save you energy, they can help get you places where you may have never gotten to, or at least get you there quicker, depending upon what's happening. So those are some examples here. Number 3, success. The key to success is cross-promotion. This is collaborate and non-competing businesses that are going after the same client or customer base. So what it does, it builds strengths in your identity as you add strength to one another's profile. So you become known as professionals in a community or in an area or in a niche that work together, and that actually gives you a better profile to the community as to who you are. It's kind of like the credibility of the others adds to your credibility type of thing, Once business owners believe in you and you in them, it leads the promotion of one another. It leads to the promotion of one another. So you don't want to box yourself in, of course, using only one professional in a niche. But you want to collaborate with as many as you can. But you definitely want to look and make sure they share the same values you share, that they're on the same page with you. In other words, you want somebody that's honest. You want somebody that is responsible and that follows through with their clients in the appropriate amount of time and things like that. Because if they're not, that reflects back on you too. So just like you as a coach reflects on them, what they do reflects back on you. So you don't just grab at anybody you can get, but you strategically choose those in the community. And it's common, it's normal, it's expected for those who collaborate to collaborate with multiple people, because every client is different, and the right fit for one person may not be the right fit for the next person, and so you just have to work with that. Let's see. You may promote your handing out their website, creating an event together, or maybe give away another's products. This can be a win-win situation for everybody involved. And I think those are probably just kind of like you would do with a business card, give a coffee cup or something, or recommend their website. Because sometimes even in just people reaching out, they don't know what they need. But when they realize that they see something that you have laying around or on the website that says, this person specializes in, divorces, call attorney so-and-so. And it's on your website. It's like you're saying, I'm recommending this person. So your credibility follows it. And so it comes back the same way. Just giving them a coffee cup or key fob or something with somebody's name on it. Not a big deal. I'm not sure how effective it is in itself, but I do know this. If it came from your hand to them, now it has taken your credibility with it. So it becomes more effective. And so I want people to feel like they can hand out my business card or an Integrity Church coffee cup. You know what I'm saying? Because that says to me that they're supporting us. They're behind us. And it says that to whoever they give it to. Professionals, I skipped branding, evangelizing. This is basically cross-promotion of professionals. And this is real helpful to your client. It expands or it extends your reach to other clients that they might send to you. So I'm saying again what I've been saying basically is that just like you're going to send clients their direction, they're going to send clients your way, which expands your reach, expands your ability to get clients. Professionals that collaborate for the success of the team, and these are just some examples. We know sports teams do it. We know that for the majority, like Dallas Cowboys, they've got professional therapists, they've got professional head coach, they got professional defense coach. In other words, they've obviously got people in there that are marketing. They've got all these different entities with their professionals who collaborate together to promote the overall specialties of everybody in there. But the ultimate goal is the client. The client is Jerry or the boys, So it's just working together to make it happen. Corporations do this. Families do this. Churches do this. It's never a good thing for churches to isolate themselves from the community or to talk bad about other churches. That doesn't build my credibility. It makes people question me. Well, then why are you the only one that's right? So team coaching, direct interaction with the team intended to help members make full, coordinated use of collective resources in accomplishing the work. So all we're doing is we're coming together with our specialties and we're all saying, let's work together for this client and make it powerful. But it does benefit us. This next graphic here, you can, I just chose to use a church for it, for example. Churches are successful when they have professionals that all collaborate together within the church or with outside the church. For example, if I wrote church in the center right here, on the top I would probably write senior pastor. Then I would probably, in the next circle, I might write care pastor or youth pastor or singles pastor. In other words, there's so many things. Christian education director, worship leader, office staff, children's ministries, world missions department director. All of these are professionals who collaborate together, and together we make a great church for the community and for God, So you can use this chart to identify the other possible coaches and professionals that you would collaborate with. You can actually write on here your niche, and then who would you want to collaborate with? And then you begin socializing and networking in places and areas to where you're able to meet other professionals. And you get acquainted with them. And over time, the two of you can begin to discuss the possibility of working together or collaboration. And then that way you have someone on hand that when you say, I really would like to, I really think it would help you to see this person. And so when they contact that person and they say, Josh recommended I call you, I could use some help in an area. Oh, that's great. You know what he's going to say? He's not going to say, that's sorry, rascal. Well, if he sent you, I don't want you. You know what he's going to say? He's a great guy. What happened? Reinforcement. back your direction now. We're going both ways. Then you know what? The next time he needs someone in your niche, that professional, he's going to think, oh, Josh sent me that last. But yeah, I think you need to go see Josh Rank over there. That's just the way the cookie crumbles in the world, It's important. Let's look at some definitions quickly here. Collaborating means to work together or to work with one another or just another. Team is a number of persons associated in some joint action. Competitor is the act of competing. Rivalry or supremacy, a prize. So, we don't need to compete with people that can actually be of benefit. Partnership. This is a person who shares or is associated with another in some action or endeavor. And then the last one is leadership. This is an act or instance of leading, guidance, and direction. So these are just some of the definitions. We've already been using these terms throughout these last 3 hours anyway, but to help us better understand what they mean. There's some keys to successful team collaborative partnering. And keeping in mind that Ecclesiastes 44:9 says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their hard work. For if one of them should fall, the other can raise his partner up. So we understand that to be true in everything. It's just, one can put 1,000 to flight, 2 10,000. Amen. So find someone with complementary skills that you don't need, but you don't need another copy. In other words, if you're a divorce coach, you don't necessarily want to collaborate with another divorce coach. I mean, it's fine, be friends, get along. And if one of you specializes in an aspect of divorce coaching that the other don't, then you might collaborate. But overall, you are who you are. Now, you're going to look for people who specialize in coaching or professional areas, whatever they may be, that would be very, very apt to relate or to be involved in the success of divorce coaching, for example. And so that's how that works. And that's good. Make sure that your values are in agreement, and make sure that both sides are willing to help each other. You don't want to, you don't want it to be one-sided. You want it to be a fair respect of honor and the relationship that honors and that blesses both of you. Then you want to define some rules up front. And this doesn't have to be in writing necessarily, but just making clear that we each value each other and what each other's bringing to the table in this relationship. And then also make clear the expectations of everyone, and also talk about financial terms if they're going to even be involved. In other words, are we going to agree that if I send you someone, you're going to send me 10% back, or what you get, or are we just going to help each other, In other words, I think you're at great benefit if you just have somebody you can send them to, and you don't get any financial, kickback, so to speak. But on the other hand, business is business, and some people, that's how they want to work with. And so when you bring professionals together, you may have to decide, because some may say, well, if we do this, how are we going to compensate each other? So you're looking at different angles you have to just work out between you. A winning collaborative team approach should have clearly defined values and expectations regarding financial terms if money will be a part of the teams working together. So we all know that probably one of the top things that can ruin a good relationship has always been money. So the more clear we are about that, the better off we are. Amen. Like I always tell, I don't tell all of them, but I often tell renters that rent our building for parties and stuff, I just tell them up front. Or like these churches that rent from me, I always tell them, I say, I know we're in the business of ministering to people, and we're spiritual, and we're God's children, and I say that we want to have a good relationship, and good business makes for good relationships. That's what I tell my renters, our renters that come in here. And so, why? Because if it's not clear, there can be misunderstandings, And if it's clear and what we agreed upon is not working out, we can come back and say, hey, this is what we agreed upon. I'm sorry, this relationship's no longer working, So it just makes it easier that way. If you're just keeping things clear as much as you can. Surround yourself with professionals that inspire and energize you, and people that challenge and grow you. Trust is important in every relationship. Effective collaborative relationships are built on that. They're built on trust. Team coaching can be powerful in helping you stay focused and accountable. It encourages you to get out of your own comfort zone and stretch. And you want to always keep lines of communication open by asking questions and clarifying issues and concerns with your other team members. Make sure expectations of each team member are properly aligned to foster a more successful relationship. And here's a real big one right here, confidentiality. Sharing with a collaborative team is not the same as having a formal partner. One area that would exercise caution in is confidentiality. Because you're dealing with personal issues in people's lives, you want to know that we all understand that this client is a client that we're possibly all working with, but we maintain confidentiality. Who I refer to you and who you refer to me, we can't be worrying about our things being exposed or revealed that's going to hurt this person. So you want to clarify that. Is it wise to discuss your needs for confidentiality in and among the team? So, you have to determine what's the nature of this team. Why are we collaborating and everything? You may want to have confidentiality contracts written and signed by the team members. And again, sometimes people feel like, well, if I ask for them to sign a contract, they're going to think I'm not being trusting. No, it's just the opposite. And I want to tell you, professional people understand this. Professional people understand that you don't have to worry about trust issues if you got a contract. Because if you break this contract, I have some avenue by which to get some type of a adjustment made here, whatever that means. And professionals understand this. As a matter of fact, professionals oftentimes are more likely to say, well, if we're not going to have some contractual agreements in our relationship, then to me, they'll say our relationship's already in jeopardy. Because it is easy to assume things that were never implied. It's easy to misunderstand. Are you hearing what I think you're hearing? Or do you think you're hearing what I think you're hearing? Are we even on the same page today? And so these things can be important. Being an effective team member means demonstrating reliability, communicating constructively, listening actively, functioning as an active participant, sharing openly and willingly, and cooperation and pitching in to help make it come to pass. I think the idea here is being open, transparent, and sharing the burden of the load to make it successful for everybody. You want to exhibit flexibility, which means don't be hard-nosed about everything. If it's not a real value of yours, a heartfelt issue or conviction, at least consider something that might require change. You don't have to go with it, but at least be willing to consider it. Work as a problem solver. I always like to say that's what leaders do. Leaders solve problems. You want to treat others with respect, and then you seek a new approach. And of course, change is scary, but collaborative team approach, it's not for everybody, but the question is it for you? Some people just don't function well relationally. They don't function well in a team setting. And that's fine if you need to go at your own, but it's a real beneficial relationship if you can manage to have that spirit about you and that kind of nature. It definitely can challenge your identity, because your identity is going to be connected to the other team members too, which means you may not be the great star. Your name, may be the last one in the list of 6 names or something, and if you got issues with stuff like that, just remember, somebody's got to be last. Somebody's name has got to be last. And we share the problems, and we share the glory. So you may not be the one who gets all the credit for everything. Nito Cuban says, professionals are willing to take intelligent risk, accepting the possibility of failure as a fair price for the opportunity to grow. So from his perspective, in the context of what we're teaching here, if you don't take some risk, if you don't venture out there some and try to extend your reach, of course we're talking about through collaboration here, then you may never know the benefits of it. You may never know if it was right for you, if it would work. If you get out there and you're just not comfortable with it, and you can always pull back to what you were doing. It's okay. And then final thoughts, a successful collaborative team coaching approach can be very effective in creating a thriving practice. So it's in this lesson today because it can be very powerful and it can be very effective. Effective teaming can magnify the accomplishments of your practice and the success of your clients and enable you to better serve everyone. So there's the facts right there. Amen.